Welcome back to another video. How's everybody doing? It's time to finally start getting some things in the garage put back together and everything back in order. But in this video, as you guys know, we just got the F-150, so it's time to get rid of the Prius. Now, I want to take you guys through a couple things I like to do when I'm getting rid of a vehicle. I've gone through quite a few at this point, and not so much a value perspective, but it absolutely helps sell it, if that makes sense, to the next buyer. This one is already sold. It's going to a family member of mine, but I still don't want to be a jerk. I want to make sure everything, is good to go. I don't want to sell someone a dud, basically. Prius has absolutely been the most reliable vehicle I think we've owned up to this point. It was my wife's first car. Yeah, it was 7 or 8 years ago now, and we put on a good amount of mileage on it. But don't worry, they're getting it for a good deal. But everything on it is, pretty good. There are a couple of maintenance items I want to hit in this video, though. So first up, it is just across this oil change due time. So we're going to knock out an oil change first, put on some new wipers, some super simple stuff. It does need a muffler, so we're going to put on a new muffler. The old one's got a crack in it along the weld, so it's kind of making some noises back there. We did suspension a while ago, so new coil springs and shocks. And then got an alignment on it. That was a while back. New tires. This is all about a year ago. So everything on the car is pretty much good to go. But it needs a couple small things. So I want to do belts. I want to check the spark plugs to make sure that the gap is still good and the plugs are still good. Like I said, last I did that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, so it could be due. A couple other things. We're going to give it a really good detail. I usually keep this car fairly clean, minus the paint issues that it has just being a Prius. They all have those weird checker puck marks from rocks on the front of the bumper, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm going to take you guys through my process of getting ready to sell a car, kind of make sure all my ducks are in a row, and we'll kind of go from there. So without further ado, we're going to hop into this oil change. Throughout this video, the Mustang should be able to get out of here because I got my axles finally, and that'll be a separate video, but we're starting with the oil change that's due, and we're going to move on from there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get after it. So for those of you that don't know, we have a 2007 Prius. Yeah, nothing crazy. Like I said, I was talking about the paint and stuff like that, but it is what it is. A couple other things we got going on. Got a new blower fan going on, and we're gonna go check over the brakes, make sure everything else is good to go. So cool thing about the hybrids, they do not use brake pads very fast, but you still want to make sure everything's greased up and happy. Further ado, we're gonna go knock out this oil change. Got some good old Super Tech stuff and a little bit of O'Reilly leftover stuff that we're using up. Last oil change, we go knock it out. All right, and easy peasy, 4 quarts of oil, new filter, she's good to go. All we gotta do is reset the mileage counter, which is pretty straightforward. So we're gonna go ahead and hold the trip button, tap the power button at the same time. And those little lights up there, they're down to 0. Boom, maintenance light turns off. We're good to go. Another 5,000 miles, so easy day. I'm gonna call it here for now. I'm gonna get the Mustang sorted out and we'll get this thing in the garage and we'll be done. All right, so Mustang's wrapped up, so which means we got the garage back and we can start cracking on the Prius. So first thing I wanna knock out is we're gonna do the muffler swap next. So it shouldn't be too bad. Got the new muffler right there from Rock Auto, about 100 bucks, nothing too crazy. And yeah, so we're gonna knock that out. So muffler on these cars located right here. So all I'm gonna do is jack up this corner, stick a jack stand under it, or maybe jack it up from the rear, put 2 jack stands on so we can check the rear brakes at the same time, and knock it out one thing at a time. So go ahead and knock that out next. All right, so underneath the car now, basically see, so these are our new shocks we did a little while ago over the summer. But yeah, so basically we got a nice little rust hole that's starting to form right here. Don't know if that's any good, but there seems to be some leakage happening there. And on the muffler itself, on this side, see it's all cracked and just making a ruckus. So it doesn't sound very Prius-y at the moment because of that. You hear a lot of noise coming out and the like. So we're gonna go and swap this out. Should be really straightforward. I don't think it'll be too crazy. So we're gonna leave these on. Hopefully we can pop them off without too much trouble. And I'm gonna time lapse this. So there's one here. Those are the exhaust hangers. And then we just got to get off these 2 bolts. And looks like that nut is welded on. So I'm gonna hit some lubrication on there, and I think we'll be good to go. So let's go knock this thing out. All right, so I'm taking a grind saw and just cutting off these little end bits. I don't think I was getting that rubber around that. It's definitely a one-way deal. So I'm sure if I had more time and wanted to mess with it more, I could have, but you know, it's just easier to cut it off. So this is the old muffler right here. Now that we got some sunlight on it, it is extremely bright. Not the wisest filming choice, but it should be okay. But yeah, so, you know, probably close to 200,000 miles in this thing. It's time. And we're gonna go actually over 200,000 now that I think about it. So yeah. Get this thing out of here. And let's go ahead and grab our new muffler right over here. So we got a new muffler, and we picked up a new seal Pro right here. So we'll get this back together. And lastly, for taking this thing off, you can see we're using the hardware. Should be perfectly fine. I put some oil on it. That didn't work, and then I used some MAP gas, and I had that metal plate over there as a shield because the fuel tank's right there. I definitely don't want to light that on fire. So yeah, should be good. We'll reuse the hardware and put this thing back together. All right, so this is our new muffler right here. Compared to the old, it used to be in order. So yeah, not too shabby. We'll go ahead and get this thing popped on. Just like I said, off Rock Auto, no biggie. Nice OEM quality, should be good to go. So it looks like I did a little bit thicker beef up job on this seam versus the factory, which looks like a couple tack welds. So hopefully this thing will last longer, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if this Prius is gonna hang in there another 200,000 miles, but for better or for worse, it's going in now. Let's go and get this thing installed. And then, oh, I almost forgot. This is the gasket I'm talking about right here. So yeah, this guy's an exhaust gasket. It's gonna go right in here. And we'll just tighten it up around there to make sure there's no leaks or anything on the car. I'm sure the original has to get pried off right now. Let's go ahead and knock that out. All right, and that concludes the muffler swap. All around here, we also put a washer on top of this heat shield just to keep it up and out of the way from banging around. Should work out just fine. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop out of here, clean up our mess, and then move on to the next thing. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on just to see how it sounds. And see if we've got anything weird going on. No? Oh yeah, that's way quieter. Noise in the front end, but like back here, freaking dead silence. I can't believe how nasty that used to sound. Hell yeah, sweet. Way quieter. Used to sound pretty nasty. All right, so next thing we gotta do, I did notice that I had a pretty gnarly squeak coming from whenever I released the brakes. I don't know if it's the front or back, but I haven't touched these things in about 5 years now, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop off the wheel, pop off the brake drum, and just kind of make sure that everything's lubed as it should be, nothing crazy's going on, and we should be good. I'm pretty sure it's just a release on something squeaking, so some silicone grease and we'll be good, but let's touch up both the rears. Well, I certainly had a lot of brake dust caught up in here, but the actual rotors and drums look to be in good shape. So we're just gonna go ahead and lube up all the contact surfaces. So in here, we can hit the springs and we should be good. Obviously we don't have anything on the brake pads, but yeah, we'll be all right. So we're really want to breathe that stuff in, so we're trying to vacuum that up and get it good to go. And yeah, I think it'll be all right. Nothing too crazy though. Probably a squeak. If I'm guessing, it's going to be the spring as it releases, squeaking along this piece of whatever you call it, piston metal thing down there, the adjustment. So yeah, we'll just lube these up real quick and be good. So that concludes everything on the back. Now we got a couple things to do on the front end. So we're gonna do the same brake check on the front. These are traditional disc brakes. So we're gonna pop off the outer caliper and then make sure our glide pins are nice and lubed. And that's really all that needs to happen there. I went with the ramps just so we can easily jack it from the front. Same thing on this side. We got a belt to do, check our plugs, and I think that's about it for maintenance stuff that has been on my mind to do on the Prius before it goes away. And after that, we just gotta clean it. All right, so brake pads checked out on both sides, relued up the guide pins just to make sure they're good there, and pretty much concludes brake checks. Didn't see any suspension issues or anything like that, so we're in good shape there. Next up, this is gonna be kind of difficult. I'm probably not gonna do this on camera very well. There is a belt right there. I have never replaced it. We've had this thing over 100,000 miles. So I did buy a new belt, pardon the workbench being absolutely insane. We got a new belt and a new pulley for it. So we're gonna go ahead and swap that over. I still gotta clean up stuff from the GT500 mess of work that we just did. But yeah, so we got a new belt and a pulley. And the pulley goes right up here. It's nice and easily accessible. I'm gonna pull this manifold off. Maybe not manifold is not the right word, but intake off to get some space in there, and then it should work out pretty well. All right, so pulled the plug. Honestly, they look pretty normal. Nothing too crazy. The gap opened up a little bit to, but so I'm just gonna crimp them back down to 0.44 inches and we'll be good to go. These are Iridium plugs. I don't see anything crazy on there. It's your average high mileage plug, but should be fine. So we'll slop that back in there. They'll be good for a while longer. All right, so I decided not to be cheap. We'll just pony up. So I bought a new set of plugs, and yeah, I mean, there's some definite wear on the top of that one. So yep, new plugs, NGK Iridiums, and I'll knock these bad boys in. All right, so that just wraps up the last of the maintenance stuff. Go and get it off jack stands, get it down. I want to show you guys the old plugs. They're definitely looking a little crusty, so got a little something burning on there. I don't know what that is, but it is what it is. So yeah, it was time, you know, These things have about 100,000 miles on them, so yeah. New plug, so good to go. I'm gonna fire it up, see if it has any more, sounds any smoother. And then I get it off these blocks and jack stands. Last time we got one more maintenance item to do, and then we should be good. And that is the blower motor right there. The one in here makes some gnarly squeaking sounds at times. So it's time to go ahead and change that out next. All right, so that pretty much concludes the last thing you got to do on the Prius maintenance-wise. I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing a deep wash off camera, get everything cleaned up on the inside, and then that'll be that the last time we see it. So I'm gonna give you guys one final walk around after we get everything cleaned up, and that's pretty much do it for this video. So thanks for sticking around. Go ahead and clean this thing up like I said, and do an outro. All right, well, we successfully got the Prius all cleaned up. Obviously it's a little bit damp outside, so we'll give it a good wash on the outside before it's all done. But headlights nice and polished, interior's nice and clean, everything feels good, brakes feels good, no squeaks or anything weird. Car is so much quieter to drive now with the muffler repaired, and all in all, quite happy with it. So looks like it's gonna be a little bit more time until we get Prius actually out of here. I'm still waiting on plates for the truck. I had to go send an email, or not email, but snail mail things into the DMV, messed it up, they're snail mailing it back, and then I gotta do the whole process once again. So eventually we'll be driving the F-150 around and having a good time, but for now, it is what it is. So thanks for watching. Just figured it'd be kind of a cool video on, maybe not cool, but a little maintenance video on the Prius. Kind of some things and guidelines to do if you're selling a vehicle and want, leave it nicer for the next guy. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video.